Recent advances in artificial intelligence have fundamentally changed how humans interact with computers. With the release of ChatGPT in November of 2022, we will look back on this event as a milestone or a turning point, a new paradigm in user interfaces. We can think of the evolution of the human-computer interface from the very beginning, right? We had command line interfaces. This is where people would have to literally program instructions in, and if there was one wrong character, one error, the computer would return a message saying that it couldn't perform or execute the task. Then we invented graphical user interfaces, and it took computers from these elite programmers, the only people who could use computers at the time, to the wider public, and this was more of the commercialization around the computer, and Apple ushered this graphical user interface in. Now, with recent advances in artificial intelligence, namely ChatGPT and large language models, we have done something that we've been trying to do since the advent of the computer. Since the computer was first commercialized in the 70s, we've wanted to interact with it with natural language.
So what this is it's like an interface. It's like we had, graphical user interfaces. I just started calling these LUIs, linguistic user interfaces.
Yeah, I like it, LUIs. It works.
So now we have computers meeting us where we are. Before we moved towards the computer and we had to contort our mind to learn these rigid programming languages that don't really come natural to the average person. And now the computer is moving to where we naturally are, and we're able to intuitively speak to the computer. The computer understands us and performs actions based on those commands. And if you want to be convinced that this is not just a fad, that this is here to stay, ChatGPT was the fastest adopted product and technology ever. Full stop. 100 million users adopted ChatGPT within 2 months of its release. And that is the fastest a product or technology has ever been adopted. And the question is, why was this adopted so heavily? Well, I think the intelligence is impressive. I think that there was certainly a novelty factor, that this was something that has never existed in the world before. And friends and family shared it with each other, colleagues shared it, and wanted to get the opinions of their peers on it. I think that's certainly the case. And I think there's also an argument to be made that it is so damn simple. There's no instruction required. This is one of the most advanced technologies on the planet right now. But the nature of it is so easy to interact with. This is the fundamental innovation on user interfaces that I'm talking about. You can put really anything into this interface and it's going to respond with something thoughtful. So for example, I'm not a developer, but I work with developers in product design, and they'll often share their GitHub repositories with me, and there's all these different files and directories in there that I don't really know what they mean and what each of these items do. And so I literally just copied and pasted that repository into ChatGPT interface, and ChatGPT went through line by line and helped me analyze, like, what is this file doing and what is this directory doing? And it was extremely helpful. So I kind of think of ChatGPT as a Swiss Army knife. A Swiss Army knife is this single form factor, and there's all these different things that the Army knife can do. And we can certainly talk about the limitations of these LLMs, that they hallucinate, they sometimes give you the wrong answer, that they've only been trained on public internet data up until 2021, so you can't apply this intelligence to current events or to your private data that wasn't available on the public internet. But this is all starting to change. So there's a lot of AI research that's being done, a lot of money, billions of dollars being poured in to improve the underlying technology, and I only expect this tech to improve from here. And to the last point, there are already products that are breaking out of this data silo. Google and Microsoft has already integrated this intelligence into their search engines. So Google Bard, it's like a ChatGPT, but you can search the internet for it, and it's aware of current events, and you can ask it questions and it'll go out onto the web and find answers for you. Microsoft Edge, same thing. It's really cool because you can open up a document. So let's say I have a PDF of some research paper, and then I can ask the intelligence to summarize it for me. So I can pull up a source, get it to summarize it in a couple paragraphs, and ask questions of the document itself. This is incredibly powerful. Photoshop and Figma are integrating generative AI directly into their workflows. This is going to help graphic artists, UX designers become more efficient, faster. It's going to amplify their design work with generative AI superpowers.
Here's an example where AI can tap into the existing wealth of your design systems, what's on the screen and different pages, and surface component recommendations for you to build upon. And so in this example, it's digesting the screen and suggesting these album covers and filling in the content for you as well.
So what can we expect in the years to come? Well, it's very difficult to make predictions 5-10 years out. I don't think this is possible. I can give you my best 1 year out, and then we can really speculate on how things are going to change from there. So within 1 year, I think that most platforms and applications as we know them today are going to attempt to integrate generative AI into their existing workflows. And this is going to work really well for some. I think there's going to be a lot of applications who try to integrate generative AI, but the two paradigms don't really work well together. And this is where startups come in. AI startups who can think about how to design and build with AI from first principles are going to come in and disrupt entire application categories, entire industries like healthcare and law. And so just as we saw social media startups reinvent media and entertainment, and we saw ride sharing like Uber reinvent transportation, we're going to see AI startups completely reimagine software categories. Google obviously has the most widely used search engine in the world. It still uses relatively the same algorithm, PageRank, as it did 25 years ago. So this is a technology that's almost 3 decades old, and we still are searching in the same way as we did back in the 90s. So let me posit this. We are going to have AI that answers questions. So you'll have a specific question to something, and AI is going to go out and it's going to search for you, and it's going to analyze thousands of websites, thousands of sources, and it's going to give you the answer that you're looking for. And this is actually what the user wants. The user never wanted to manually search through things. The user had something in his or her mind that they needed to be answered. So this is getting really directly to the root of what the user is trying to do.
Will we still have search as we know it?
Probably not. Probably we'll just have answers. But there will be cases where you'll want to say, okay, I want more, like, for example, site sources.
And this means internet browsing is probably going to be totally different. You're not going to be searching for things and going to websites, and you click on the website and you see that there's some information architecture. You've got your different pages and you're looking through the different pages. I don't think that that is going to be as prevalent as it is today. And it kind of calls into question graphical user interfaces overall. Why do we need websites? Why do we need to design when you have this intelligence that can just come in, understand the information that you've published on your website, and then relay it to the user in whatever way the user asked for it?
There's a possibility here that the whole idea of a screen and Windows and all this stuff just goes away, because, like, why do you need that if you just have a thing that's just telling you whatever you need to know?
I don't think graphical user interfaces are going away. This is just an example of how websites might completely change in our idea as designers, where we approach it from what is the information architecture? Well, it's probably what is the information architecture for the AI? How do we design a way to transmit information that is best for the AI to come in and consume rather than the human being? Okay, here's another prediction. We have voice assistants right now in our operating system, and we're going to really improve these voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, Bixby, Cortana. It's only a matter of time until these assistants that we have get as smart as ChatGPT. And the implication of this is that So far, we've been talking at the application level, like you have chat interfaces, you have intelligence being integrated into current apps, but what happens when now your entire device that has access to all of your applications, all of your local data, your cloud data, can see all of the different data streams coming in, your work emails, your personal emails, what music you like, your personal documents, your work documents. It has access to all of this and will be able to automate and tell you things about the data with a view across this entire spectrum. So this is where the idea of AI agents come in, where you spin up an agent and you say, go do this for me, research these 10,000 books because I'm trying to write this article. And so it goes out and it summarizes things however you want. So you've spun that agent up, and now you've spun up another agent to respond to your work emails, and you've spun up another agent to analyze the macro landscape and tell me, like, where are the risks and rewards with my current investing portfolio, because it has access to where you're invested in your finances. And so that makes me think that we're going to have a graphical user interface for managing these AI agents. And it's almost like that's the last user interface that you'll ever need. I think all that's to be decided, but the graphical user interface as we know it today is not going to be how it will be in the future. And that's exciting. So we talked about how we're entering a new era of human-computer interaction, and I speculated, I gave you some ideas on what I think is going to happen. I think it's pretty clear that AI is going to continue to proliferate and be integrated into other applications in the near future. Now, who wins out is totally up for grabs, and I'd be curious to hear what you think as other product designers, as developers, anybody else who's watching this video. Where do you think we're going to be in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years? What is that future going to look like? How are user interfaces going to be different then compared to now? If there's one thing I took from this research, it's that we have to be flexible as product designers. Thank you all for watching.